What if I told you that I caught my wife cheating with my own brother, and instead of losing my mind, I orchestrated the most epic revenge that ended up going viral and destroying both their lives in the most cinematic way possible? This isn't fiction. This isn't a movie script. This actually happened to me 6 months ago. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why what I did was absolutely legendary. So buckle up, because this ride is about to get insane. My name is Derek. I'm 34 years old, and I live in Austin, Texas. Up until 8 months ago, I thought I was living the American dream. I was married to my college sweetheart Amanda for 9 years. We had a gorgeous house in the hills overlooking Lake Austin. I owned a successful tech consulting firm, and Amanda worked as a physical therapist at one of the top sports medicine clinics in the city. We didn't have kids yet, but we were trying, and life seemed perfect. My younger brother Tyler is 31, and he's always been what you'd call the family screw-up. While I was building my business and establishing myself, Tyler was jumping from job to job, relationship to relationship, always needing money, always promising to get his act together. But you know how it is with family. No matter how many times someone disappoints you, you keep giving them chances because blood is supposed to be thicker than water. About 10 months ago, Tyler showed up at our door with everything he owned stuffed into garbage bags in the back of his beat-up Ford pickup. He'd just been evicted from his apartment, lost his job at a local brewery, and his girlfriend Kayla had dumped him after catching him texting other women. Amanda, being the kind-hearted person I thought she was, immediately insisted that Tyler stay in our guest house until he could get back on his feet. I wasn't thrilled about the idea, but Amanda had this way of making you feel like a terrible person if you didn't help family. She said Tyler just needed some stability and support, and that we were in a position to provide that. So against my better judgment, I agreed to let him stay temporarily. The first few weeks were actually okay. Tyler seemed grateful. He helped around the house, and he was actively looking for work. Amanda would cook these big family dinners, and for a moment it felt nice having my brother around. I started thinking that maybe this time would be different. Maybe Tyler was finally ready to grow up, but then I started noticing little things. Amanda would put on makeup and dress nicer on days when I had to work late, and Tyler would be home alone. She started laughing at Tyler's jokes more than she laughed at mine. And trust me, Tyler's never been the funny one in the family. When I'd come home from work, I'd sometimes catch them in what seemed like intimate conversations that would abruptly stop when I walked into the room. The first real red flag came about 6 weeks into Tyler's stay. I was working late in my home office when I heard Amanda and Tyler talking on the back patio. Their voices were low, almost whisper-like, and something about the tone made me curious. I crept closer to the window and heard Amanda telling Tyler that she felt more understood by him than she had by anyone in years. She said he really listened to her, unlike other people in her life. When Tyler responded that she deserved better than she was getting, my stomach dropped. But I tried to convince myself they were just having a deep sibling-in-law conversation. The second red flag was when Amanda started working late more frequently. As a physical therapist, her schedule had always been pretty consistent. But suddenly, she was staying after hours for continuing education courses, weekend seminars, and emergency client sessions. When I'd call the clinic to check on her, sometimes, the receptionist would tell me Amanda had left hours earlier. When I'd confront Amanda about these discrepancies, she'd get defensive and accuse me of not trusting her or being controlling. Then came the financial irregularities. I noticed charges on our credit card for expensive restaurants that I'd never been to, weekend hotel stays in nearby hill country towns when Amanda claimed to be at work conferences, and purchases from Victoria's Secret that I never saw her wear. When I asked about these charges, Amanda always had explanations. The restaurants were work lunches with colleagues, the hotels were for legitimate conferences, and the lingerie was supposed to be surprises for me that she was saving for special occasions. But the biggest red flag came when I found a burner phone hidden in Amanda's gym bag. It was an old iPhone with a cracked screen, and when I turned it on, I saw dozens of text messages between Amanda and someone saved in the contacts. As T, the messages were flirty, sexual, and left no doubt that Amanda was having an affair. The most recent message from T said, "Can't wait to have you all to myself this weekend while Derek's in Dallas." I was scheduled to leave for a business conference in Dallas the following Friday. That's when everything clicked. T was Tyler. My wife was having an affair with my brother, and they were planning to spend the weekend together in our house while I was out of town. Most people would have confronted them immediately. Most people would have kicked Tyler out and demanded answers from Amanda. But something strange happened to me in that moment. Instead of feeling rage or heartbreak, I felt this cold, calculating clarity. Maybe it was all those years of running a business and having to think strategically, but I realized that I had an opportunity to not just catch them in the act, but to orchestrate something that would expose their betrayal in a way they'd never recover from. I put the phone back exactly where I found it and started planning what I now call Operation Exposure. First, I went to the best divorce attorney in Austin and retained her services. I explained the situation and showed her screenshots I'd taken of the text messages. She advised me to gather as much evidence as possible before making any moves, and she started preparing divorce papers that would protect my assets and business. Next, I went to a high-end electronics store and bought a complete home security system with hidden cameras. I told the salesperson I was concerned about break-ins while traveling for business, which wasn't technically a lie. I installed cameras in our bedroom, living room, kitchen, and Tyler's guest house. All the footage would upload automatically to a cloud server that only I had access to. Then I hired a private investigator, a former police detective named Mike who specialized in infidelity cases. I wanted professional documentation of everything, not just my amateur surveillance footage. For the next 3 weeks, I collected evidence while acting like the clueless husband. The footage and private investigator reports were devastating. Amanda and Tyler weren't just having sex, they were acting like a married couple in my own home. Tyler would cook breakfast for Amanda in my kitchen using groceries I paid for. They'd shower together in my bathroom. They'd sit on my couch making plans for their future together after Amanda divorced me. The private investigator followed them on their secret dates and documented everything. Romantic dinners at expensive restaurants, weekend getaways to bed, and breakfasts in San Antonio and Houston, shopping trips where Tyler would buy Amanda jewelry, and clothes with money I later discovered he'd stolen from my home office. But the most crushing evidence came from the audio recordings. I heard Amanda tell Tyler that she'd never really loved me, that she'd married me for financial security, but had always found me boring and predictable. She said Tyler made her feel alive in a way I never could. She talked about how they were going to wait until after our 10-year anniversary to divorce me so she could get more money in the settlement. And then she and Tyler would move to California and start fresh. Tyler, for his part, talked about how he'd always been jealous of my success and how stealing my wife felt like finally beating me at something. He said I'd always acted like I was better than him, and now he was taking the thing I valued most. Hearing all of this should have destroyed me emotionally, but instead, it fueled my desire for the perfect revenge. They thought I was boring and predictable. I was about to show them just how creative I could be. The plan I came up with was inspired by every thriller movie I'd ever seen, but it was going to be better because it was real life with real consequences. Our 10-year wedding anniversary was coming up in December, and every year we threw a big party to celebrate. This year I told Amanda I wanted to make it extra special since it was our 10th anniversary. I suggested we invite everyone important to us, both our families, friends from college, Amanda's colleagues from the clinic, my business partners, and even some neighbors. I rented out the ballroom at the Four Seasons downtown Austin and hired a full catering staff, a live band, and a professional photographer. Amanda was thrilled. She thought I was being the most romantic husband ever, planning this elaborate celebration of our marriage. Tyler was nervous about the party, but Amanda convinced him it would be fine. She told him they just needed to act normal for one night, and then they could continue with their plan to destroy my life. I spent 6 weeks planning every detail of this anniversary party. I told everyone it was going to be a renewal of our vows ceremony followed by a reception with dinner and dancing. I hired a videographer to record everything, telling Amanda I wanted to capture every moment of our special day. What I didn't tell her was that I was planning to capture much more than she expected. I also secretly arranged for a large projection screen and professional sound system, telling the venue coordinator that I wanted to show a slideshow of photos from our 10 years of marriage during dinner. The tech setup was elaborate enough to rival a movie theater, which was exactly what I was going for. The night of the party, Amanda looked stunning in a white cocktail dress that I'd bought her for the occasion. She was glowing, thinking she was celebrating our marriage while secretly planning its destruction. Tyler was there too, playing the role of the supportive brother-in-law, making toasts about family loyalty and the importance of trust in marriage. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. About 120 people were there, including Amanda's parents who had flown in from Oregon, my parents, both our sets of grandparents, Amanda's entire extended family, all our friends, and most of our professional colleagues. It was the biggest social gathering either of us had ever hosted. During the cocktail hour, I made sure to get photos with Amanda and Tyler together, talking about how grateful I was to have such a loving wife and supportive brother. Amanda was beaming, and Tyler was sweating bullets, but he was trying to play his part. After dinner had been served and everyone had a few drinks, I stood up with a microphone and called for everyone's attention. I started what everyone thought was going to be a heartfelt speech about my marriage. Thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate 10 years of marriage with Amanda and me, I began. When I married Amanda, I thought I knew what love was. I thought I understood what commitment meant, and I thought I could trust the people closest to me. People were smiling and getting sentimental. Amanda was looking at me with what I now know was fake adoration. Tyler was trying to blend into the background. Tonight I want to share with you all the truth about my marriage, about trust, and about family loyalty, I continued. Because sometimes the people you trust most are the ones who betray you in the most spectacular ways. I clicked a remote and the lights dimmed as the projection screen came to life. But instead of wedding photos, the first video started playing. It was high-definition security footage from our bedroom, showing Amanda and Tyler together. The timestamp clearly showed it was from 2 weeks earlier. The ballroom went completely silent, except for the sound of the video. You could hear a pin drop. Amanda's face went from confusion to horror to panic in about 3 seconds. Tyler looked like he was going to pass out. This next video is from our kitchen, I said, my voice steady as a rock. As you can see, my brother, Tyler, has really made himself at home. I played clip after clip, 6 weeks worth of evidence edited together like a documentary. Their romantic dinners in my kitchen, their intimate conversations about their future together, their discussions about how stupid I was for not figuring out what was happening in my own house. The room erupted in chaos. Amanda started screaming and crying, begging me to stop. Tyler tried to rush toward the projection booth, but my friend Marcus, who's a former Marine, blocked his path. Some people were leaving in shock. Others were pulling out their phones to record the mayhem. And Amanda's grandmother was having what looked like a cardiac episode. And now, for the grand finale, I announced, here's a recording from last week, where my loving wife and devoted brother discussed their plans for my future. I played the audio of Amanda and Tyler talking about how they were going to take me for everything I was worth in the divorce, how they'd already been stealing money from me, and how they couldn't wait to start their new life together in California. At that point, Amanda collapsed onto the floor, sobbing hysterically. Tyler punched a waiter who tried to escort him out, which resulted in hotel security being called. Amanda's father, a retired military colonel, looked like he was ready to commit murder. My own parents were staring at Tyler with expressions of complete disgust and disbelief. About half the party guests had fled, but the other half stayed to watch the drama unfold, like it was the finale of the most insane reality TV show ever produced. The professional photographer I'd hired captured every moment of the chaos, which was exactly what I'd planned. I turned off the projection system and spoke into the microphone one final time. I've already filed for divorce and sent all of this evidence to my attorney. Amanda, you have 48 hours to remove your belongings from our house. Tyler, you have until tomorrow morning to get your stuff out of the guest house. Thank you all for witnessing what I like to call the truth. Anniversary party. The aftermath was absolutely nuclear. Someone had live-streamed parts of the party on social media, and videos of the whole thing went viral within hours. By the next morning, clips of Amanda and Tyler's affair and my revenge were all over Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The hashtag Truth Anniversary Party was trending nationally. Amanda tried to do damage control by claiming the videos were fake, that I'd hired actors or used artificial intelligence to create fake footage. But the evidence was too overwhelming, and people could clearly see it was authentic. Plus, multiple guests had recorded the whole thing from different angles, so there was no way to claim it was fabricated. Tyler disappeared that night and didn't surface for weeks. I heard through family that he'd driven straight to Las Vegas and was staying with some sketchy friends, probably trying to avoid the legal consequences of his actions. Amanda's professional life imploded immediately. The sports medicine clinic, where she worked, fired her within days because the scandal was affecting their reputation. Her physical therapy license was suspended pending an ethics investigation. She tried to stay in Austin, but everywhere she went, people recognized her as the cheating wife from the viral video. The legal proceedings were swift and brutal. Thanks to the prenuptial agreement we'd signed and the overwhelming evidence of Amanda's adultery and financial theft, she got almost nothing in the divorce. No alimony, no claim to my business, no share of our house or investments. She walked away with her personal belongings, her car, and whatever money was in her personal checking account. Tyler eventually returned to Austin and tried to reconcile with our family, but the damage was irreparable. My parents, who had always made excuses for Tyler's behavior, finally cut him off completely. They changed their will to remove him as a beneficiary and told him he was no longer welcome at family gatherings. My extended family followed suit, and Tyler found himself completely ostracized from everyone he'd ever known. But the story doesn't end there. About 2 months after the anniversary party, I got a call from a Hollywood talent agent who'd seen the viral videos. Apparently, several production companies were interested in optioning my story for a movie. I ended up signing a deal with a major studio for a mid-six-figure sum for the rights to adapt my story into a film. They're calling it a dark comedy thriller, and they want to get some A-list actors attached to play the main characters. I also started getting offers to tell my story on podcasts, talk shows, and documentary series. The story of my cinematic revenge became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring countless memes, reaction videos, and even copycat revenge schemes. I became somewhat of a folk hero for scorned spouses everywhere. Amanda tried to sue me for emotional distress and public humiliation, but her case was thrown out of court. The judge ruled that since everything I'd shown was true, and I'd obtained the evidence legally, I had every right to expose her infidelity. Her attempt to get money from me through a lawsuit just generated more negative publicity for her. Meanwhile, my business absolutely exploded. The publicity from the viral revenge story brought in dozens of new clients who wanted to work with the guy who'd orchestrated the most epic takedown in internet history. My revenue doubled within 6 months, and I had to hire additional staff to handle all the new business. Tyler and Amanda's relationship didn't survive the public scrutiny. They broke up about 3 months after the anniversary party, apparently because the stress of being internet infamous destroyed whatever attraction they'd had for each other. Without the excitement of sneaking around and betraying me, they realized they didn't actually have much in common. Tyler ended up moving to Montana, where he works at a lumber mill and lives in a trailer park. Amanda moved back to Oregon and lives with her parents while trying to rebuild her career and reputation. Last I heard, she was working as a receptionist at a medical office and using her maiden name. As for me, I'm thriving in ways I never imagined possible. I bought a bigger house in the Hollywood Hills area of Austin, upgraded my car to a Tesla Model S Plaid, and started dating again. The story of my revenge made me something of a local celebrity, and I've had no shortage of dating options, from women who admire what they call my creative problem-solving skills. I've also been using my platform for good, speaking at men's groups about recognizing the signs of infidelity and rebuilding your life after betrayal. I've helped dozens of guys who found themselves in similar situations, and it feels good to turn my painful experience into something that helps others. The funniest part of this whole story is that the viral fame has led to some amazing opportunities. I've been invited to speak at business conferences about crisis management and strategic thinking. I've gotten offers to write a book about my experience, and I'm actually consulting with the Hollywood studio that's making the movie about my story. Sometimes people ask me if I regret the way I handled everything, if I think I went too far with the public humiliation. My answer is always the same: absolutely not. Amanda and Tyler chose to betray me in the most intimate way possible. They planned to destroy my life financially and emotionally. They thought I was weak and stupid and boring. What I did was simply expose the truth about who they really were. I didn't lie about them. I didn't exaggerate their actions. I just showed everyone exactly what they'd been doing behind my back. If they're embarrassed by their behavior, maybe they shouldn't have engaged in that behavior in the first place. The whole experience taught me that sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad or getting violent. Sometimes the best revenge is patience, planning, and exposing the truth in a way that speaks for itself. And if you can do it with cinematic flair that goes viral and changes your life for the better, even more so, people still recognize me around town and tell me I'm a legend. My story has become a cautionary tale about infidelity and a masterclass in strategic revenge. Amanda and Tyler learned that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are served up in high definition with surround sound at your own anniversary party. I'm building a new life based on honesty, self-respect, and the knowledge that I'm capable of turning even the worst betrayal into an opportunity for growth and success. And honestly, I've never been happier or more confident in my entire life. And that's my story, folks. If you enjoyed this absolutely insane tale of betrayal and cinematic revenge, smash that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable true stories. Have you ever dealt with betrayal in your own life? Let me know in the comments how you handled it, and maybe your story will be featured in a future video. Remember, sometimes the truth is the most powerful weapon you can wield, and patience always beats rage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.